Okay, it took a little bit longer until the patch notes came out, but the update number 4 is here with the event. I'm just gonna go through it. I've already played a little bit of it, mind you, so this is not like, looking at the patch notes without actually looking at the content a bit myself, but yeah. So basically, winter event is live. They showed it in the live stream, and honestly, it seems pretty cool. So we have limited time event cosmetics. The event lasts until January the 9th, I think. Yeah, right here. And basically, you collect tokens just with Geister. You get more tokens now than you did with Geister, so the grind is a bit reduced. And you can find gifts instead of posters in the trial. And if you collect all the gifts, you get an additional amount of tokens. So the grind should be a lot better, which is really, really good. Also, all the trials have the same gimmick of cold snap. The trial environment is sporadically filled with piercing cold air, height to survive. So basically, they showed it in a live stream, that's how I know. Basically, over time, there will be freezing periods with a warning, and you have to find a hiding spot to hide. And, outlast the cold. Then the cold is over, and then it will, be normal until, a period of time has passed, and then you will have to hide again. Forces you to use hiding spots. Honestly, already way better than what we had with Geister, which, to be fair, Geister was a bit underwhelming in that department because a lot of it was multiplayer exclusive. Like, as a solo person, you didn't really feel the no-name changes or the more imposter changes or anything like that, and the only interesting thing back then were the enraged enemies. So this is really cool. I already gonna say this cold snap thing, I already want this to be in a Program X or anything like that. If this was a weekly, if you want to treat it as that, that would be one of my favorites. As, a variator up there with, Broken Glass that actually, spices up the game with variators. Really, really good stuff. Also, yeah, it lasts until January 9th, and after the event is over, you can also still spend your tokens. That was a problem with Geister. Once the event was over, it was over, and you couldn't spend it anymore, and it was kinda shitty. So, yeah. New Courthouse MK challenges. Just as we predicted, there are 2 new MK challenges. Escape the courthouse, where you have to do more witness killing, and destroy the evidence, where you have to do more shit with acid. Really cool that they are now in there. Also, it's listed below somewhere, but they also moved them to Program 4, and the ones that were previously in Program 4 to their respective programs. So release the prisoner to Program 1. Drill the Fatherman to Program 2, and gather the Children of God to Program 3, where they belong. So, finally there's this cleanup, and I'm very happy about it. Upcoming events calendar. Until January 9th we have the event. Then we have weekly no meds, no healing items in the trial. I won't lie, that sounds pretty fucking boring, in my opinion, but it is whatever. We will see how we will do that. Then we have Bad Trip. Basically, you at least always have Psychosis State 1, which should be interesting. Probably also a shitload of Psychosis traps in the entire trial at all times. Sounds very interesting. And then Hardcore Maximum Difficulty. Would be cool to see what that actually is. If it's actually hardcore difficulty, or if they just, do the same shit as we have right now in Program X, which, mind you, Program X is quite hard, but I wouldn't call it hardcore. So I'm interested to see what type of variators they define as push through hardcore difficulty. Excited for that one, to be honest. Then cell decoration bundles, basically. I saw that earlier when I was in my cell block. This first thing is basically like some sort of crime scene cosmetic, where you have the where you have like an outline of a body on the floor and there are a lot of, you know, paper stick thingies on the wall is pretty cool. Also obviously festive lights. New cell option controller support. Good. Nothing more said. Now the interesting things, risk balancing. Now there has been a lot of interesting changes and honestly, probably best part of the update if you ask me, blind rig has been nerfed multiple times. Increased base deploy to 6 seconds was 5 seconds. With deploy technique it's now 5 seconds was 4 seconds. Excuse you? Thank you. Huge. Smoke duration has been decreased to 10 seconds was 30 and if you have the extended duration update it's 12 seconds was 20. Also the cooldown has increased to 3 minutes instead of 2 and the decreased cooldown does reduce it by 20%. And enemies entering a smoke after it's been detonated won't be stunned anymore. If they trigger it themselves then yeah they still have like this, but if they enter it afterwards they won't be stunned anymore. Now I don't know if it still has the property of, you know, if you are in the smoke they are basically not able to see you or whatever and you can just rush objectives, but these changes seem hefty. I'm almost certain blind isn't the best rig anymore. I think stun is now the best rig and, you know, has overtaken it. Dev comment, let's read that real quick. The blind rig remains a highly favored choice. Absolutely. Our aim for this rig is to transform it into a situational tool that demands planning rather than being an instantly favorable lifesaver. This change will also increase the value of the stun rig as an instant control offensive tool, which I think is a good thing. The problem with blind was always, it was always sort of better than the stun because you immediately got more value and you could greed objectives. Now we don't know if the greed objective part is still possible, but alone the thing with the 5 seconds here with the deploy technique, let me tell you, for example, the snitch speedrun, right, that I posted a while ago. Basically, for the end part of snitch, you go in the snitch thing, deploy the mine, and you would just drop it just in time before coil gets to you. So, you know, you can then one cycle and because of the smoke, coil would not be able to do anything. Now with 5 seconds this might actually no longer be possible. So we will have to figure out new strats for speedruns, which is exciting. I know a lot of people will hate this, but I just find it exciting that blind actually gets crushed a lot. And you know, it's gonna be situation. And now, we will have to see if that means that blind will be dead actually. I mean, it probably won't be if the enemies can't interact with you while they're in the smoke thing. If that's still there, then blind will be fine probably, but it's huge. It's a huge change. Now here, I kinda disagree with what they did there. Basically, the slowdown ability was nerfed. So, the slowdown was decreased to 5 seconds, was 7, and if you deploy your thing, then enemies will get, you know, hit. But if you then run into an enemy, they won't get affected by it. So it's only the people on impact. And basically their reasoning is that it got too much of an offensive tool, even though they want to make this a support role thing. I disagree with this change in my opinion. I think that was more than fine. It is the weakest offensive thing in the game rig-wise anyways. I mean, X-Ray has no offensive capabilities, but here was like the second worst offensive thing, so there was not really a reason to nerf it in my opinion, but heal is still the same as it is for what it is. It's still insane healing output, like psychosis heal and all that stuff. I would love next to for them to decrease the heal cooldown, because the cooldown for heal is pretty hefty, and in my opinion you don't need to hold back on that, because the main thing about heal, and the reason why I think it's always somewhat balanced already, is because if you use it a lot, you tank your raid a lot because you're taking a lot of hits. So it balances itself out that the better you get in the game with, you know, not taking hits and all that stuff, the less you will need that anyway. So you don't really need to change a whole lot there. Again, I don't agree with this change, but okay, we will see. X-Ray, I actually tested that already because someone on the server was like saying, oh my god, they changed this thing. So basically X-Ray cooldown reduced to 30 seconds. Let me tell you, that was 60 seconds, not 120 seconds. They got the number wrong there. It's 30 seconds, but the duration has been reduced. From 8 was 15, and the extended duration from 12 was 30, and the range was decreased as well. Now the range decrease I disagree with, but this is good. Now in an ideal world, I would love for them to do that, some sort of resource meter. So you activate it, you have a bit of a duration, but if you deactivate it earlier, your cooldown would be shorter, if that makes sense. That would be how I would do it, but I like this change. Basically, yes, you have less duration, but more often than not, when I was using X-Ray, I was like, the X-Ray was on for way too long in my opinion, where I wouldn't really need it anymore. And I was like, oh my god, like I don't need it anymore. And now it's on for shorter, where I would actually need it, and the cooldown is shorter, so I can then use it more often when I actually need it. So good change overall. I would love for them to do more with X-Ray, obviously, because X-Ray, even though this change is really good and a really good step into the right direction in my opinion, X-Ray still needs something like showing, you know, player objectives or whatever, which in my opinion wouldn't even be broken in my opinion. But yeah, basically, as a result, players can now utilize the rig more frequently, and that's a really good thing. Now, additions, improvements, and balancing, that's also really huge. Bricks have unlimited uses when thrown in the environment, so if you have Pepega aim, yes, you are not getting punished, but they have only one use. This is huge. You cannot CC bully X-Pops anymore with strong arms and all that stuff. It's not possible anymore. Also with traps you have to be careful, because now bricks are a really hefty resource. In my opinion, I absolutely love the change, because bricks were really strong. And again, with perks like strong arm, you could abuse the living shit out of that, which obviously amps weren't really touched, which is a bit but this is a really good step into the right direction, because bricks are powerful as is, and you know, giving you 3 uses per brick was really, I don't wanna really say OP, because the thing that made it OP was strong arm, but it was still very insane. So I'm glad that they took the route. We will see how it plays out. If there's enough negative feedback to be like, this is not that good, then they will roll back, and I would be fine with that as well. But in my opinion, that's a good step into the right direction. This is also really nice. When they introduced the performance bonus in the courthouse update, it was only for XP, so if you were participating in a trial and doing, you know, more stuff in the trial, you got more XP from it. Now, for a player like me that got everything unlocked 2 days after the update came out immediately, it was like, yeah, that's... Now this doesn't do anything. Now it also awards Murkoff dollars. Good change. Yeah, and the same for secondary objectives. So if you get the posters or the Christmas gifts for the event, you also get Murkoff dollars. Vaulting over obstacles now consumes more stamina. Fine, fair. Advanced regeneration, I think that's from prescription tier 3. The delay before the heal regeneration begins was increased, so it's a bit of a nerf. Fine. Then something about amp names. Then the tutorial flow, that's something you might realize. If you reinstall the game on a new device, you are forced to go through the tutorial. You will still get your profile through cloud saves and whatever, but it gives you all the tutorials again, and that was pretty annoying, so now they removed that, which is good. Also new audio feedback when a player is revived, cool. Again, as I said, the MK challenges are now where they belong, so that's also good. HDR support, nice, and some fixes, and some AI thing. Yeah, they also reworked some animations, more reactive and harder to deal with in some situations. I've already noticed, like I've played some of the base trials now, the big grunts are also faster now, and for example the grunt that, you know, has the axe can also now close doors, which was new, what I realized from the limited time I played. But yeah, various updates, bug fixes, improvements to the AI. Overall, awesome update. I'm gonna say it again though, I would have loved if they did their PR marketing thing a bit better, because again, I was very disappointed what they did at Game Awards, but the update in my opinion makes up for it. This is exactly the type of shit that I expected. We were never gonna get, you know, Toy Factory that fast after Courthouse anyways. I'm glad we got the new MK challenges, I'm glad we got the event, I'm glad we got some balance tweaks here and there. This is honestly what I wanted and what I expected, and I'm glad we got it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a thumbs up and subscribe for more Outlast Trials content in the near future. Also, I will be live streaming that on Twitch with the event, and also trying the Program X run again, which thank God they didn't update Program X, because I would have been pissed. But yeah, if you wanna stop by, link is in the description, and yeah, other than that, have a great rest of your day and take care everyone. Bye bye.